Good afternoon, fellow ruminators. Welcome back to another session, Rumination with Andrew. Thank you so much for joining as we are about to discuss a very important topical matter. And our politics is heating up as we are approaching the next general election scheduled constitutionally for September. We don't even know if we're going to have a general election in September, but we know that it is approaching. And my title is affirmed one more time. And that is Lawrence Rowe's shocking speech shakes Jamaica. JLP set for election victory? Is the JLP set for an election victory based on the speech, the shocking speech that Lawrence Rowe made on Sunday night? Lawrence Rowe has finally broken his silence, and Jamaica is in shock. In a fiery speech delivered last Sunday night, Rowe exposed deep political tensions and accused key PNP figures of betrayal. But what has the nation been talking about from his words? What are they deducing from his words? Is this the turning point for Jamaica? Or is this the turning point that Jamaica has been waiting for? Has Rowe's revelation set the stage for a political shift that could reshape the island's future and could therefore give the JLP a third consecutive term in office? Watch now as we break down the biggest or the latest political moment of the year with exclusive clips, analysis, and reactions from the streets of Kingston to the halls, of Parliament. Now, this is news for the next generation, so I encourage my young people to subscribe. Jamaica is reeling after Lawrence Rowe's bombshell speech last Sunday, a speech that not only exposed cracks within the PNP, but may have just shifted the momentum toward a JLP victory. What exactly did he say, and who did he call out? And how is this going to impact the upcoming election? Let's break it all down right now. And we are going to look at different clips or clippings of Lawrence Rowe's speech and break those statements, those pronouncements for you. And I just want to say here that our political culture is decaying every day. And because we have a society in which people are so apathetic toward the politics in the country, the politicians are getting away with a lot of things. They are getting away with a lot of things, and it would take a sort of political education that may last throughout eternity to be able to unpack the deceptions and the stupidity and the level of, I would say, ghettoized politics that we practice in Jamaica, right? Or politics has become like that of a ghetto constituency, but that is what it is. I think we have morphed into a ghetto nation, and so we have ghetto politicians because our politicians come from us, right? And that's what we have to understand, that they emerge from the populace and they have the same type of mentality as the people from which they emerge. Very important that we understand that. So I'm going to now share some aspects of Lawrence Rowe's speech without further ado, right? So let me begin to share my screen so that you can participate and you can hear from the horse's mouth, won't you? Okay, let's listen to Mr. Rowe.
My heart, be acceptable in thy sight, O Lord, my strength and my redeemer. Shower laborites. And to my PNP family who are also here, shower. Shout. Special greetings to the workers, warriors, and the leadership of Era County 1. And to our very own impact boss, Donovan Williams. We believe in the impact then, and we can continue the impact onwards ever until them stun him. So hear me now. I was in Westmoreland, and I told the laborites there that I was born at the Victoria Jubilee Hospital. And then my mother took me home in Alma Town. And just like how Mark Bolin wants accountability from everybody else who wants to see a birth paper to know if you're an authentic Jamaican.
Right. So we are seeing where Lawrence Rowe is playing the racial national card, whatever you call it, and he is questioning Mark Golding's authenticity as a Jamaican, his authentic identity as a Jamaican. Now, the question that I asked in my previous video, and I'm asking still, when Lawrence Rowe was a part of the PNP, why didn't he question him? Why was he under the leadership of a supposedly non-Jamaican, knowing that that would have defied the Constitution? Well, it didn't, because, you can also be a non-Jamaican if you've been living there for a number of years and you have gained your naturalized citizenship. So why didn't he, if Mark Golding was not a legitimate candidate and, according to him, was not an authentic Jamaican, why didn't he suggest that that was so while he was a part of the party? Why is he now expressing his angst and his discomfort with that sort of arrangement in the PNP now that he has crossed over to the other side of the political aisle? That is a question that we should be asking, which I'm sure that many of our people are not going to ask, because we are not people who like to be fair, and we just go with the flow. We go with the trend, don't we?
So, all you know me.
Don't buy another pair of glasses.
I think when this thing comes, oh Lord,
these self-adjust.
Okay.
I was born here, grew here, do business here, into many relationships here, met many friends here, and have a few votes. I have served this constituency on a political and non-political basis.
Well, for people who do not know, my understanding is that Lawrence Rowe is very popular in that constituency, and that both GLP and PNP adore him. They love him. They love his leadership. They love his personality, and he makes a very good politician if he's liked on both sides. So he can traverse both political aisle and he won't be impacted. My understanding also is that he voted for the GLP when Imani was running for that constituency, and also when the Ronnie Thwaites was also running, or did run for that constituency. He was not in favor of these two candidates who represented rather the PNP. So this is a very interesting politician, one who is able to cross both sides of the political spectrum seamlessly and without any major problem that, people are questioning who he is. I understand that when he was even making the speech, that the people who are PNP, they embraced him when he went into the constituency because they know him and they like him. So that is a very strong point of Mr. Rowe, that the fact that he's respected, because we know our political culture and that we are so partisan and so polarized that once you go over to the other side, then it's a big betrayal. But for him, it seems not like it's not a betrayal. It's almost like the PNP is more betraying him, and he is a solid candidate in the sense of the public perception, not in terms of his substance, but in terms of the public's perception of him. He can win on both sides. Very interesting. How many politicians throughout the year would we have said that about? Because many of them, they have to have diehards, right, within their constituents or within their constituency for them to be able to win. He doesn't have to have, because he has a lot of supporters on both sides of the political aisle.
How do you know I'm not tribal? Labor rights and PMP love me alike. I want to go everywhere without fear and favor and without security. Because I look like you, sound like you, I am from you, and you know when I'm born, grow, and raised. All of us went through the same hardships together. And we know we can do it together.
I wonder if Mr. Patterson, who is a Fresh Prince, right, the Black Prince of Jamaica, or the Black Prince of Jamaican politics, I wonder if he can walk around feeling safely that nobody's going to injure him, even though him look like the people in Banya. I wonder if he is able to do that. But this is what Lawrence Rowe is suggesting, that if you're Black and you look like a Black Jamaican, that's what he's inferring. Didn't say that in so many words. Then you can walk around feeling comfortable because nobody's going to bother you, because, you know, the fact is that you look like the ordinary Jamaican, right? But barcoding, whose skin color is what they deem to be white, he has to have security around him because Jamaicans might attack him because he never banya. What an interesting comment to make from Lawrence Rowe.
We know that this constituency have been loyal to one political party for many decades. We know that we have been rebelling up to 2016 when the JP grew by 45% and the PMP lost by 4%. We knew that come 2020, things would take a turn. When I stepped forth in 2016 and challenged Ronald Wade, I was the sole nominee, and Paul Burke mashed up the conference. 2 years later, the Batra conference and said the member of parliament who was here for 20 years defeated me by 14 votes. What can go so? 7 months later, he was sent his marching orders by Peter David Phillips, and a selection process opened, and he was told in no uncertain terms that he couldn't enter. The bus a process and a young lady evolved.
Right? And I think that it could be Imani Duncan that he's referring to. Now, one of the things that we have to understand is that in many of his pronouncements here, and I think he's spot on, he's revealing the underbelly of Jamaican dysfunctional politics and the lack of a democratic process that I have been telling you on this channel, that our society, we do not live in a democracy. We have been duped to believing that, to think that we live in a democracy and we go and vote and we vote one in and vote one out, and then they determine the destiny of our nation. They don't determine the destiny of your nation. They are the image that you think determine the destiny of the country. But there are greater forces within Jamaica, within the borders of Jamaica, and outside of the borders of Jamaica that determine our destiny. All right, or destiny is determined in Brussels and in London, in Washington, D.C. It's not determined in Jamaica. That is what you see, and there are people who are constantly repeating that sort of superficial statements to me, that our destiny, if you don't vote for the party, then, you know, because whatever we want to say, our destiny, they are the ones who determine our destiny. Andrew Holness, Andrew Michael Holness, and Mark Golding do not determine or will not determine Jamaica's future and where we are heading. They don't have the power to do that. They are just representatives, image of the power structures that govern us, that if we were to be aware, we would be very, very surprised, and I think that we might rise up and have a revolution. I am not calling for a revolution, but that is what we have to understand, that oftentimes what we think is not how the show is run. And when people are telling us that the show is not run that way, we don't want to think. We just want to follow with everybody's saying, just like what happened 5 years ago. Everybody's doing this, I'm going to do it. Right? Everybody's being jabbed, so I have to be jabbed because that is how the show is run. And I don't want to be different because if I'm different, people are going to look at me as being weird. And I don't want to be a weirdo. I want to be someone who is doing what everybody is doing because people are like that, you know? That's how we are.
But just as how we got rid of one addict then, we're going to get rid of another one now. Because we know that Donovan now turn up on the gambling house with the CDF money.
Why did you cancel your Midjourney subscription?
This is going to be a problem.
Hidden AI.
How can I get this out now?
Right? That does everything I want for a one-time cost.
Okay.
We know the impact boss, the partial whether you have PMP or labor right. Franklin Town is the strongest PMP community. And in 1 week, they requested the resurfacing of their football field and they got it. In 1 week, Rayton Fishing Village who have been loyal to the People's National.
Let's go up and see what he's saying.
Our impact boss delivered for us. I supported him in.
So Donovan is the one running for the constituency. So my bad. I thought that they would have asked Lawrence Rowe to run for the constituency, but Donovan, and that's who he's supporting, it seems. So he's lending his support for the current MP of. That's my impression. Or is Donovan Williams the current MP? Not so sure, but you could correct me if I'm not so certain. I know he was the mayor, or is he still the mayor of Kingston and St. Andrew?
20 in rebellion of what was taking place in this constituency. When you look across this constituency, we were living in high degradation. Sanitation was poor. People were parachuting them in the scandal bag and throw it. That is what we were living in. A star observer, where some people in Raytown Fishing Village are called on the MP and the councillor to deal with sewage condition down there. I can tell you, it took hours for him to deal with it, and they have been living like that for decades. They are a set of ungrateful people. But to you, my young people, I know that you are not tribal. I know that you are not loyal to any one party. I know that your parents can't tell you who to vote for because you want better for yourself and your family to come. We know that our impact boss, when fire take way, him not come ask about well entitled to steal our property. Him provide material assistance whether you have PMP or JLP, and him take care of the PMP more. The people them been a Southside burnout and them not get no assistance from it yet. But I wonder if a PMP get burnout and them get assistance after assistance after assistance. And
wouldn't it be nice if most of the constituencies in Jamaica could be run like what he's saying, and could, even though the both political sides, the both politicians, the both parties are, vying for leadership, because that is what the system is designed and set up to do, then whichever wins, whichever MP wins, that they can come together and they can work together, because that is what evidently happens in this constituency. Is it Franklin Town constituency in Central Kingston? So this is what happens in that constituency, that no matter who wins, whether it's the JLP MP or the PNP MP, that they come together and they help each other. They're just not there to help their supporters, their political supporters, but they're looking at the development of the constituency. That would be very good. And I think would have our politics would be more sophisticated, knowing, of course, that we're going to have our licks and our verbal, here and there, combats here and there. But we are willing to know that at the end of the day, when all of that is finished and somebody has won, Jamaica has to be developed. And I think that this is a good a trend that, Lawrence Rowe and the other people are setting in that constituency. If we could just follow that, and we do less of the Imanubania and all of that stuff. Apart from that, great speech.
Come man, come at them players and give them one toilet paper, one toothpaste, one toothbrush, one soap for drop. That's all. And just 3 weeks ago, it did the same. We don't want that. We want real development in Central Kingston. And because I supported him and held his hand in 2020, and I was never afraid then, and it was never a secret.
Yeah, so now it is coming out. Now I think he is shocking Jamaica with his silence. I think that is what he's saying, that the fact that he voted twice for the JLP when he didn't vote for Ronnie Thwaites and didn't vote for Imani Duncan Price, yes, I think his name is Imani Duncan Price, that is why he was not the favorite, because somehow the PNP thinks that he is not to be trusted because he voted for somebody outside of the party. That is going to happen. We know that that's the political system in Jamaica. And if you do step out of, even those of us who are civilians, if we step out of line, they call us all sorts of names. Who was talking the other day? Well, not talking, but he wrote an article. It was the Dr. Michael, what's his name again? Michael, the doctor, the comedian doctor. Yeah, he was the one who wrote an article about the fact that he traverses between voting for the JLP and the PNP. And whenever he does that, the member of the other party or the leaders, the voters, the followers of the other party always call him names. So sometimes friends of his call him names for voting against the party that they're supporting. But he's looking at what party is trying to develop Jamaica. That's what Michael Abrahams was suggesting. But, that is not how we think. We think that we should be Laborites or PNP or Democrats until we die, even though we don't see anything that they're doing for us, but we're going to be Democrats or we're going to be PNP or JLP until we die, right?
So nobody feel as if I was hiding anything. All of you in Central Kingston know that I supported Donovan then. And I told the PNP that I was supporting Donovan. They tried sending me to Eastern St. Thomas to help Fenton Ferguson. Then they sent me to West Rural, St. Andrew, in the radio division. I had to mobilize my own money to finance my stay there. But I knew then deep down that I had to come home and vote for Donovan, and I didn't care about it. And when I walked to the polling station, and the PNP was just right there, I walked right past them. So I never treat them. I stepped right in. And when I marked that ballot, I kissed it and said, "This is it." Because I have never ever voted for a loser.
Well, so this is what he's suggesting here, very carefully, very, very eloquently, that, and give him his credit. I think he is a budding politician, right? I think that he is. He's young, and he was able to stand there and he spoke. Not only that, also he has some amount of political courage that we have to give him, right? And many of our people don't have courage, Many big people, adults don't have courage. People older than I am, people my age and older, they don't have courage to do and to stand up for what is right. They'll stand up because their friends are doing it. And if their friends are not doing it, then they're not going to do it because they don't want to be the odd person in the room. But he is able to stand up. He says that he didn't believe in what the PNP had given him in terms of leadership for that constituency, and he voted and he walked past them bravely, courageously, and he went and he supported the PNP, the JLP. Right? How many of us would be able to do that, to stand up for what we believe in? It could also be that he was doing that out of a personality attack. He had personal attacks in terms of he didn't like the person. We won't always like the people or leaders who are sent to govern us, but should we just betray them by going over to the other side because we don't know? Let's hope that he did that because he believed that Donovan or whomever was representing that constituency from the JLP party would have done a better job. Let's keep our fingers crossed that he's speaking the truth, and it's not just that it was done because he did not like the candidate, he did not like Ronnie Thwaites, or he did not like Emmanuel Duncan Price. Hopefully that is what he is suggesting, and that what he did. But if it was just based on personality likes or dislikes, we have to be careful, because then he's going to go over to the PNP whenever he doesn't like a JLP candidate. And that is not going to be a strength of character, right? That is not going to be strong ethics. So it's, six of one, half dozen of the other. We don't know. We can't read his heart. We can't read his mind. But I am suggesting here, Mr. Rowe, that if it's just that it has to do with your political likes and dislikes, or personality likes and dislikes, then you've got to be very careful. I did not put in this thing. So I wanted to present this to you, and I hope that you have gleaned something from it. And we hope that, we can continue our dialogue on Mr. Rowe. Make sure that you like and you share and you comment on the video. Now, he did mention in the video along that, Mark Golding, he was the one who kept Mark Golding's, leadership alive and supported him, because without his support, Mark Golding would not have won and would not have remained in the leadership, because other people would have challenged him. But he was able to do everything within his power to ensure that Mark Golding remained as the leader of the party. So he is a formidable political candidate, and he is a formidable asset to any of the political parties. And I dare say now that he has turned over, he has crossed over to the political aisle, he has switched over to the JLP party, I think that the JLP party is cementing their victory in the next government election. That is what I'm thinking. Let me know what you think, and let's wish them well. At the end of the day, who is going to win in the final analysis? Are Jamaicans going to win, or politicians and their financial elites? Will they be the ones who will win in the final analysis? I think that you know what I think, but let me know what you think about what Lawrence Rowe is doing, and how does that bode for the future of Jamaican politics. Thank you so much for joining. I hope that you'd like, share, and subscribe. Remember now to send your monetary or financial contributions to Andy, that's AND_Tucker_450 @hotmail.com. Thank you so much. All the best to you. Bye.